Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt something was off, even though everyone was smiling? You couldn't explain it, you couldn't prove it. But your stomach tightened, your chest got heavy, and something inside whispered, "Pay attention." Most people ignore that voice. They smile through it, tell themselves they're imagining things, and keep moving forward. And later, they realize they should have listened. That voice, that gut feeling. It's not random. It's not some mystical thing you pull out of thin air. It's your most ancient intelligence. It's the part of you that's been protecting the human race long before logic, language, or reason ever existed. And yet, we doubt it. We argue with it. We bury it under what's socially acceptable, what's reasonable, what's safe. We silence the one thing that has always been on our side. Tonight, I want to wake that part of you up again. Because if you learn to listen to your instincts, really listen, it will not only keep you safe, it will change the entire direction of your life. There are 4 specific gut instincts that every single one of us gets, and if you ignore them, they will cost you. Maybe your peace, maybe your purpose, maybe even your safety. So before we go anywhere, I want you to do one thing. Think back to a moment, one moment, where your gut warned you about something. Maybe it told you not to trust that person. Maybe it told you to take that risk. Maybe it told you to walk away, and you didn't. How did that turn out? Exactly. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Those quiet signals that speak before your brain can find words. Because your intuition doesn't lie. It just waits for you to listen. Are you ready to start listening again? You ever walk somewhere? Maybe late at night, maybe broad daylight, and something inside of you suddenly tenses. You can't see anything wrong. No one's saying a word, but your body knows something your brain hasn't caught up to yet. Your stomach knots. Your skin prickles. Your senses heighten. You feel that subtle but undeniable alert. Something isn't right here. That's your first instinct. The silent alarm, the body's internal radar that detects danger before you can explain it. It's ancient, primal, and powerful, and most of us have been trained to shut it down. From the time we're kids, we're told to be polite, to not make a scene, to give people the benefit of the doubt. We tell ourselves, I'm probably overreacting. I don't want to seem rude or paranoid. So we smile, we stay, we ignore that pulse of discomfort, and too often we pay the price for it later. Your intuition isn't superstition, it's science. The human brain is constantly absorbing information, tiny microsignals that never even reach your conscious thought. The way someone's eyes flicker when they lie, the split-second delay in their voice before they answer a question, the way footsteps sound behind you, a fraction too fast, a little too close. Your conscious brain might miss it, but your subconscious doesn't. It picks up those details, compares them to every experience you've ever had, and whispers a single message. Something's off. That whisper, that's survival. It's what kept our ancestors alive long before we had words like intuition or instinct. It's not paranoia. It's perception, unfiltered. I remember once being in a situation where everything looked normal. Bright lights, friendly faces, laughter. But my body wouldn't relax. Something inside of me kept scanning. I didn't know why, then out of nowhere, the atmosphere shifted. One person's smile didn't quite reach their eyes. Their tone got a little sharper. A tension crept in that no one else seemed to notice. But I did. I trusted that feeling. I stepped back, repositioned myself, stayed alert. Minutes later, things turned chaotic. Voices raised, a situation escalated. And because I had listened to that silent alarm, I was ready. I was out of the line of fire, literally and figuratively. That's what your gut does. It protects you before you have the evidence. But here's the truth. Your instinct can only protect you if you honor it. If you second guess it, every time, it goes quiet. You teach it you're not listening, and eventually it stops trying. How many times have you said afterward, I knew it. I just knew something was wrong. We say that after bad relationships, shady deals, dangerous encounters. The red flags were there. The feeling was there. but we brushed it aside because it didn't make logical sense, because we didn't want to be that person who overreacts. Let me tell you something. Trusting your gut doesn't make you dramatic. It makes you prepared. You can always apologize for leaving a room too early. You can't always recover from staying too long. When that uneasy feeling hits, don't rush to explain it away. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting yourself. You don't have to justify saying, I'm not comfortable or I'm leaving. If your gut says go, go, you can always figure out the reason later. There's a physiological truth behind it too. Your amygdala, the part of your brain that detects threats, fires off before your prefrontal cortex, the part that rationalizes. That's why you feel something before you think something. Your body knows first. So when you get goosebumps, when your pulse spikes for no obvious reason, when your chest tightens in someone's presence, pay attention. Your intuition is data, not drama. Now, not every alarm means danger. Sometimes it's simply alerting you that something's misaligned, someone's energy doesn't match their words, or a situation doesn't fit your values. But the principle is the same. That whisper inside you is feedback from your deepest intelligence. Think about how many times people ignore this in everyday life. The friend who says, I don't know why, but I don't trust that guy, and then months later, everyone finds out he was lying to everyone. The woman who feels uneasy about a job offer that looks perfect on paper, but later learns the culture is toxic. The person who walks into a building, feels something's wrong, walks out, and minutes later there's an accident. That's not coincidence. That's awareness. Your gut doesn't deal in logic, it deals in truth. But you have to know how to separate instinct from insecurity. Fear says, I'm not safe because I don't believe in myself. Intuition says, I'm not safe because something here doesn't match. Fear is loud, repetitive, emotional. Intuition is quiet, calm, persistent. It doesn't scream. It nudges. It doesn't argue. It simply knows. The more you ignore it, the harder it is to hear. But the more you honor it, the sharper it gets. Start small. Pay attention to how your body reacts in different situations. Who energizes you? Who drains you? When do you feel tense for no reason? When do you feel peaceful even if it's risky? Those patterns are messages. Sometimes your silent alarm is warning you about other people. Sometimes it's warning you about you, your own habits, your own choices, your own tendency to stay where you shouldn't. If you've ever stayed in a place, a relationship, or a job that you knew deep down was wrong, you felt it, that low, constant hum of unease. That's your gut begging you to move. And here's the most powerful thing you can do. Trust that signal the first time. You don't need evidence to honor your own awareness. You don't need validation from anyone else. You don't need to explain your instinct to people who haven't lived your life, who don't have your experiences coded into their nervous system. Your intuition is uniquely yours. It's built from every moment you've survived, every danger you've sensed, every truth you've learned the hard way. That's your internal database. It's not guessing, it's remembering. So the next time your gut speaks, pause. Don't rush to dismiss it. Don't drown it out with logic or social pressure. Step back, breathe, observe, maybe even walk away. Because here's what I've learned over and over again. Your intuition will never lie to you. It might not always tell you what you want to hear, but it will always tell you what you need to know. And when that silent alarm rings, you have two choices: ignore it and hope for the best, or listen and prepare for the truth. One keeps you guessing, the other keeps you alive. There's another kind of gut instinct, one that doesn't warn you about danger. It calls you towards something greater. It's not loud, and it doesn't come in the middle of chaos. It comes in the quiet moments, when you're alone, when your mind settles just long enough for your truth to slip through the noise. It's that subtle pull that says, you're meant for more than this. You know that feeling. The one that shows up when you're sitting at a job that drains you, smiling on the outside while something inside whispers, this isn't it. Or when you find yourself daydreaming about something totally different. Something that excites you, scares you, maybe even feels impossible, and you quickly push it away because it doesn't make sense. That's your gut trying to redirect you. That's not fantasy. That's purpose, trying to get your attention. But here's the thing about that instinct. It rarely feels convenient. It doesn't wait until you're ready, until your finances are perfect, or until everyone approves. It comes when you least expect it, and it demands courage you may not feel you have. Most people ignore it. They bury it under logic, obligations, and fear. They tell themselves, it's too late. It's too risky. I should be grateful for what I already have. And yes, gratitude matters. But there's a difference between being grateful and being complacent. Gratitude says, I appreciate what I have. Complacency says, I'll settle for this, even though I know it's wrong for me. Your gut knows the difference. That pull you feel towards something new, that creative urge, that curiosity, that sense that you're meant to contribute in a different way. It's not random. It's the result of every experience, every skill, every lesson you've gathered, aligning into direction. It's your inner compass saying, this way. When you ignore that pull, life starts to feel heavy. You wake up tired even after a full night's sleep. You look around and feel disconnected from the life you built. You start telling yourself you should be happy because you have the job, the car, the relationship. But deep down, there's an ache that won't go away. That ache isn't dissatisfaction, it's misalignment. It's your intuition showing you that your soul and your circumstances are out of sync. You can't fake fulfillment. You can't force yourself to be at peace in a place that doesn't fit you anymore. But most people try. They stay in careers that don't inspire them, relationships that limit them, or environments that shrink them, because leaving feels reckless, because following that pull feels irresponsible. But here's what no one tells you. Ignoring your calling is the most dangerous form of self-betrayal. It's slow, quiet, polite destruction. You smile for others while dying a little inside each day, and your body knows it. The stress, the tension, the loss of joy, those are all physical symptoms of an unlived truth. I once heard someone say, purpose doesn't shout, it whispers, and it keeps whispering until you either answer it or numb yourself enough to forget. Most people choose the latter. They drown it out with distractions, more work, more scrolling, more noise. Anything to avoid the discomfort of listening. Because purpose isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it disrupts everything. Maybe your gut's telling you to change careers, start a business, move cities, go back to school, or finally tell your story. But the minute that thought surfaces, fear follows. What if I fail? What will people think? What if I'm not good enough? And so you talk yourself out of it. You trade your instincts for approval. You exchange your potential for predictability. Here's the truth that fear is supposed to be there. The pull toward purpose will always come with resistance because growth demands risk. If it didn't scare you, it wouldn't stretch you. The goal isn't to wait until you're fearless. It's to act while you're scared. But sure, the gut doesn't speak in guarantees. It speaks in conviction. It doesn't promise an easy path. It promises an authentic one. That's why you can't logic your way into purpose. You have to feel your way into it. You have to notice what lights you up. What topics make you lose track of time? What kind of work or service makes you feel alive in a way that comfort never could? When your gut keeps nudging you in a certain direction, it's because there's something there for you. Growth, impact, freedom, meaning. Maybe not immediate success, but something that will shape you into who you're meant to become. And yes, sometimes the path looks uncertain. You might not have a full plan. You might take a step and realize it's messy, unpredictable, harder than you imagined. But that's how it's supposed to be. Purpose isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. It's not about making the right move on paper. It's about making the true move in your gut. You can't calculate your calling. You can only commit to it. The biggest mistake people make is waiting for clarity before they act. But clarity doesn't come first. Movement does. You step toward what your gut is telling you, and the path begins to reveal itself. One step, one moment of courage, one decision at a time. Think about it. Every major shift in your life started with a feeling before it became a fact. You didn't have proof, you had a pull. And when you followed it, even when it scared you, you grew, you evolved. You found parts of yourself that didn't exist before. That's the power of honoring that instinct. It's not reckless, it's responsible. Because you're responsible for your own potential, no one else can live your calling for you. No one else can hear your gut the way you do. And let me tell you something else. The world doesn't need you to play safe. It needs you to be awake, alive, fully engaged in your purpose. That's how you contribute. That's how you lead. That's how you leave something behind that actually matters. If you keep ignoring that pull, life will keep sending you reminders. Restlessness, frustration, burnout, a sense that you're stuck. Those aren't punishments. They're signals. They're your gut saying, you've outgrown this version of yourself. And when that message comes, it's not asking you to blow up your life overnight. It's asking you to take one honest step toward what's real. To trust that you wouldn't feel this pull if it wasn't meant for you. Because here's the truth, purpose doesn't chase people who aren't ready. It chooses the ones who are brave enough to listen. So if your gut's been whispering that there's something more for you, something different, something deeper, stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for certainty. Stop waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There's just now and the courage to trust what you already know. You ever meet someone and instantly feel something, you can't quite name it, but you know it? Maybe they smile, say all the right things, but something about their energy doesn't match their words. Or maybe the opposite, you just met them, yet you feel an inexplicable trust, a calm that tells you this person's solid. That's your gut again reading what your eyes can't see. It's the truth detector you were born with. And it's sharper than any background check, any resume, any rehearsed charm. Every one of us has that radar. It's the subconscious part of your brain that picks up on micro-expressions, tone shifts, posture changes, the invisible signals that reveal a person's real intentions. Before your conscious mind even processes it, your body already knows who's safe, who's sincere, and who's pretending. You feel it as tension in your chest, a flutter in your stomach, or a wave of comfort that washes over you. It's quiet, subtle, but it's always accurate. The problem is, most people don't listen. We live in a world where appearances rule. People can curate an entire personality online, rehearse empathy, mimic honesty. But energy doesn't lie. Your gut is the one thing that can see through the performance. You've felt it when someone's apology feels hollow, when a compliment sounds a bit too polished, when a promise doesn't sit right no matter how convincing it sounds. Your body stiffens, your breathing changes, and that tiny voice inside whispers, "This isn't real." That's not paranoia, that's perception. You ever notice how you can sense tension before an argument even starts? You walk into a room and know someone's upset even if they're smiling. That's emotional intelligence at work. Your brain reads hundreds of cues in milliseconds. The way a person exhales, how their pupils dilate, how their tone drops half a note. Your logical brain might say everything's fine, but your intuition catches the truth. You can't explain it, but you feel it, and you're almost always right. Think about the times you ignored that feeling. You wanted to believe someone's words more than you trusted your instincts. Maybe you told yourself, they didn't mean it that way. Maybe I'm overreacting. And later when the truth surfaced, you said the same thing we all do. I knew it. I felt it from the start. You did know, but you silenced it because you didn't want to seem judgmental or harsh. We're conditioned to doubt our social instincts, especially when they don't align with what's expected. We're told to give people the benefit of the doubt, to always be kind, to overlook the red flags because everyone deserves a chance. And sure, kindness matters, but not at the cost of your peace. Not at the cost of your safety. You can be kind and still have boundaries. You can be compassionate without being blind. When your gut tells you someone's not genuine, that's not cynicism, that's awareness. And awareness keeps you safe. It saves you from manipulation, from betrayal, from investing in relationships that drain the life out of you. Because manipulation rarely shows up as a villain. It shows up as charm. It shows up as charisma. It shows up as, trust me, I'd never hurt you. But your gut always sees the cracks. It feels the inconsistency. When words say one thing but the tone says another. When actions don't match promises. When someone's energy shifts every time you talk about your success. You don't need evidence to notice the change. You just need to honor what you already feel. And that instinct isn't just for defense, it's also how you recognize genuine connection. Think about the people who've entered your life and instantly felt familiar, as if you've known them for years. That's not coincidence, that's alignment. That's your intuition recognizing authenticity. You don't need to force trust when it's real. Your gut relaxes around honesty. It tightens around deceit. The truth about people is this. Everyone is showing you who they are all the time. Some through words, others through silence. Some through consistency, others through excuses. Your gut picks up on it long before your mind admits it. But the reason many of us get hurt repeatedly is because we want people to be who we wish they were, not who they're showing us to be. If someone's presence consistently leaves you uneasy, pay attention. That discomfort isn't cruelty, it's clarity. If every time you share something good, they respond with subtle envy or deflection, your gut notices. If you leave conversations feeling drained or confused, that's data. Your intuition doesn't judge people, it just reads them. It tells you who's aligned with your peace and who's a threat to it. And here's something few people talk about. Your gut also knows when you're being dishonest, not with others but with yourself. Sometimes that uneasy feeling you get around someone isn't about them, it's about the version of you you're pretending to be in their presence. When you shrink, when you people please, when you edit yourself to be liked, your body protests. That knot in your stomach, that's your gut saying, this isn't you. So the next time you meet someone, don't just listen to what they say. Listen to how your body reacts. Notice your breathing, your shoulders, your posture. Your body knows truth. It always has. The more you tune into it, the easier it becomes to separate sincerity from performance. Now, some people will call that being judgmental. They'll say you're reading too much into things. Let them think that. You're not judging, you're discerning. Judgment is rooted in ego. Discernment is rooted in awareness. Judgment condemns, discernment protects. There's a difference. The smartest, strongest people I've met are the ones who listen when something feels off and act accordingly. They don't need drama, confrontation, or proof. They just quietly step back. They observe. They adjust their proximity. That's power. Because trusting your gut about people doesn't mean you go around assuming the worst. It means you trust yourself enough to recognize the truth, even when it's inconvenient. And here's the beauty of it. Once you start honoring that instinct, your relationships transform. You stop chasing chemistry and start choosing consistency. You stop clinging to potential and start respecting patterns. You stop trying to fix people and start protecting your peace. You begin to understand that not everyone deserves access to you, and that's not arrogance, that's alignment. Your intuition about people will never be wrong. It might feel lonely at first, when you start cutting ties with those who no longer match your energy. But that space you create, that's where genuine connections grow. The kind of people your gut recognizes immediately, the ones who make you feel safe, seen, and steady, the ones who don't drain your energy but expand it. So trust that instinct. If someone's presence consistently feels heavy, you don't owe them closeness. If their words sound sweet but leave a bitter aftertaste, you don't owe them trust. And if your gut says, this person's real, believe that too. Because intuition isn't just a warning system, it's a guidance system. It doesn't just protect you from the wrong people, it leads you toward the right ones. Your gut already knows who's for you and who's not. Your only job is to listen. There's a moment in every person's life when the gut doesn't whisper anymore. It starts to ache. It's that deep, sinking feeling that tells you something you don't want to admit. It's time to walk away. Not out of fear, not out of pride, but out of truth. You've given everything you could. You've tried to make it work. You've reasoned, justified, and hoped. But now, every part of you knows, staying is costing more than leaving ever will. We all feel it before we act on it. That quiet pull in your chest that says, you don't belong here anymore. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a job, maybe it's a version of yourself you've outgrown. You try to silence it with logic. You tell yourself, it's just a phase. It'll get better. I can push through. But your gut knows. It always knows. It keeps sending you signals. Tension, resentment, exhaustion, that dull heaviness that never quite goes away. You wake up tired even after sleeping. You dread the things that once inspired you.